All of us have a story that have impacted our lives and our relationships in the worst way. These stories have been hurtful, dreadful, painful, and traumatizing to deal with or to even face. Our brave guests share their stories and their truths that have stolen bonds in their lives to heal and help others heal. They take courage in realizing that what they have experienced was not just for them, but God brought them through with a triumphant testimony to help someone else to overcome. You're tuned in to Sister My Sister TV.
Hello, hello, hello. Blessings. Good evening, and welcome to Sister My Sister TV. And you are watching My Truth That Stole Our Bond. And I am your host, HB, the Kingdom Advancer. Listen, I am very much excited about tonight to talk to this powerful woman of God who has a story to tell. And one thing about this story is that I love that it God definitely reconciled in this story. So I'm definitely looking forward to her sharing her story. I know that it would bless someone. And as you come in on tonight, I want you to go ahead and share. And as a matter of fact, I will begin to share in some groups. But go ahead and share on tonight. You want to tune in, share with someone, invite a friend, invite someone that you may know have been through some type of experience, and maybe they are still healing from that situation. Maybe they need some enlightenment, they need some encouragement, they need to be walked through. But I want you to share, and I'm going to bring my guest up to introduce herself on tonight. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. Good evening. Blessings, woman of God, Miss Heidi.
Good to
Thanks for
have
having
you on
me.
tonight. I am so grateful that you are with me tonight to share your amazing story. And one thing about your story, as I was saying before I brought you up, is that I love that God, He definitely did His power at the end of your story. He reconciled some things, but we'll get into that. I want you to introduce yourself to the people that will be are tuning in on tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thanks again for having me on. I am Juanita Lupoe. I am the founder of a nonprofit 501c3, A Woman's Work Dwelling Place, Inc., where we mentor young girls and also provide essentials for single moms. We are actually in the process of advancing that program for single mothers to um, be able to provide their overall goal of everything they need in their life. I am also um, I'm a sort of semi-tired hairstylist. I was out of the game for a little while, but sometimes you have to come out of retirement. But I've been doing hair for like 35 years, 34 years, almost 35 years. I have three children. My oldest one, uh, he's in Sebring, Florida. He's
Mhm.
married. They have three kids. They're all adults. My other daughter, the oldest daughter, she's in plantation. She has four kids, so there's seven grandkids, and most of y'all from Kingdom do know Talisa is my baby girl. We pretty much stay together. She's not married. She don't have any kids. She just winging it, learning life,
Mhm.
learning stuff. I also am a two-time author. My first book was 22-day devotional on personal development, because I am a personal development life coach. I do have that devotional, and also why I'm here tonight is my second book is called Dirty Cry, Silence and the Shame. And that's my story of that's my life story that we're going to talk about tonight and get into it in a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yes. So I love that you have three. Okay. So I only met
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
you have three.
she's the
You
baby.
yes, and 7 grands.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we look forward to hearing more and seeing
Mm-hmm.
more of your family. But
Yeah.
I want to, bring you the reason why I brought you on tonight because you have such a powerful, transformative story, and just so a lot of times the Sister My Sister TV we talk about different situations, but the Lord gave me my truth that stole our bond because there are women that needs to heal. They have been through some things,
Mm-hmm.
and even myself that when I went through my situation in life period, we all go through something. We all have a story, but a lot of times we don't heal as women. We kind of we
Mm-hmm.
just go through life and we don't completely heal. Sometimes we don't even face the situations, especially
Exactly.
when they're being pushed up under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, family secrets, different
Mm-hmm.
secrets. So this is definitely something that the Lord laid on my heart, and it's a blessing to the people. So I want you to go ahead and begin to share with us what was your truth that stole a bond in your life.
Okay. Well, it's several, but the main one, the truth that stole my bond is I was molested at an early age. From age 9 on up, and how it started. And in that process, around about 12 years old, um, my stepfather started actually did the ultimate, and later on, a couple of years after that, a child was birthed. But in the process of me going through all that, having a mother, um, a wonderful mother that's a teacher and love her children, but from society of the past has pretty much scarred some of our parents. We have the tendency to overlook stuff and not really take it as it is as the truth. And at some point, I was able to tell my mom, in a sense, hey, I'm not feeling safe. And, how could you tell your mom that her husband is, doing things that he shouldn't be doing, you know?
Right.
And when it first happened, when we first, it was actually me and my sister because I had an older sister in the house at the time. I have two older sisters, but they left home at an early age. They got up out of there. I don't blame them. I would have got up out of there too. But it was me and my sister, and my sister was like 3 years older than me. So she was in high school, I was in middle school. And there was just times when I call him I'm just gonna say pedophile because that's what he
Mhm.
is. The
Exactly.
pedophile would make ways of attack, you know. And
Hmm.
he would maneuver the day, he would maneuver the night. A lot of times my mom, I didn't understand it back then, but the older I got, even when I came out with my story, I had spoke to uh, one of my aunties, and she shared some things with me from the past, and I understood. I
Yes.
didn't I didn't understood then, but it's so gracious that God had already covered me in not hating my mom
Right.
and, and not, you know, wanting to act out and do stuff. It's like I was just there. I had to just accept this was my faith. That
Right.
was
But I
that.
have, before you get too deep in that, I have some questions.
Okay.
Because I know that you said, and even I'm gonna tell you, we have similar stories. Now, I did not birth a child out of the,
Mhm.
SA, or
Mhm.
whereas in SA, y'all know what that means in the prison state,
Mhm.
right? Oh,
Mhm.
but that okay. So that's what we're gonna call it here because of the screaming. But
Mhm.
But one, being a hairstylist, I'm a licensed
Mhm.
stylist as well.
Ah.
Yes. And two, it was like you said, my stepfather's like, and I didn't experience that full, that
Mhm.
the fullness, but there was
Mhm.
violation.
Mhm.
And when you say that you had, the unfortunate part about it is having a baby from that experience. How old were you when you had your child?
I was I got pregnant at 12. No, I was 13 when I had him. I was turning
13.
I was turning 14 2 weeks after that. So it's kind of like in between. I was almost 12 at the end of
Hmm.
12. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just, I could only imagine what psychological thing is going on in the mind, um, for you to, yes, have to love
Mhm.
that child. Someone's
Mhm.
asking in the comments, was it hard for you to love the child after that?
Um, when God is in something, He sets up stuff the way He wants it. Um, I was actually in middle school. I was never back then. I'm 57, right? Back then, kids didn't get sex education until sometimes our parents didn't even talk to us. So the
Mm-hmm.
only thing was going on was this person that was violating me, and then going to middle school. Middle school was my escape, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a normal kid in middle school, learning friends, learning that boys like you, and they want to hit you around and play. And I just used to escape from
Mm-hmm.
when I was supposed to get off the bus, because when it first started happening, he changed his schedule to be home when I got home. My mom didn't get home till later. My sister was in after, so he changed his time to be home when I get home.
Yeah,
And
because for
that
convenience.
yeah.
Yeah. But that is so powerful. And I'm gonna say this is the mind of an
Mhm.
offender, because when I tell you, you even said like you were running and playing, you were learning that same, like, I remember being home with him as the babysitter, and I'm out
Mhm.
playing with my friends, and you're looking out the window watching me play with little people my
Mhm.
age, boys my
Mhm.
age, and and your mind, because you are a pedophile, like you said,
Mhm.
you are trying to dictate, oh, you shouldn't be out there with them. But it was because you wanted me to be inside and accessible. The
Mhm.
same way
Mhm.
you said that this person wanted you to be wanted to be home, would change up their whole entire
Mhm.
schedule in order to make it convenient for them to violate a child,
Mhm.
basically.
Mhm.
And that is so yeah, that's something, because, and having to, and like, my experience, I want to know, this is a question that I have, because it happened to me, having to live in the house continually after
Mhm.
this has happened. And in my case, I remember saying something and then still having to live in the house. And it's like,
Mhm. It falls on deaf ear.
it's like nothing, So let's talk about that. What does it, how did, knowing that you have experienced this, you're going through this, because yours was a continue. I don't know how long. It was totally different for me because it was during my sleep.
Mm.
During my sleep time, like I would just wake up and I would
Mhm.
be, you know.
Mhm.
So, but being that you were aware of,
Mhm.
did this go on?
Mhm. You said how long?
Yes, from like what period of how many
It
years, or
it went on to after I had my son. I think I was in 10th grade.
and it started when you were in middle school?
It was it started elementary.
Oh wow.
Elementary. When I went to middle school, that's when I learned, okay, I don't have to go home. So I backtracked
Mm.
to when I found out I changed. I wouldn't come home. I would go to every friend house until it was time for my mom to come home. But
Right.
then I started, one of the boys that liked me, I started walking home with him, which my friends stayed across the street. So it was easy for me to go over there, and that's how all that transpired, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm kind of like backtracking. If you wanted me to backtrack, you wanted me to finish answering this question,
Go ahead.
because
Mm-hmm.
you want to figure out how was I able to love the child. So
Yes.
I never know nothing about being pregnant. So going in those afternoons when I would go to my friend's house, there was a little, how little boys do, they want to touch you, they want to play, they want, first you run up outside. But this was over a period of time, and I didn't know what was going on, because it was a different touch. It was the little boy, they kiss you. Your pedophile, they don't kiss you. They don't, but they're, anyway, you get
Mm-hmm.
the picture. But that's how um it turned into me having a boyfriend, and it only happened one time physically, and the parents had found out. The mom came home that day, or the second time, and she found out that I was at her house all the time. So he went and told my mom and my stepdad, and that they didn't want me back over their house, not knowing that that house was escape.
Safe haven.
Yeah. But in the process, there was, you know, there was like somebody loved me. Somebody didn't treat me, a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So I wind up. My mom asked me, "Did I get my cycle?" I said, "Well, no, I didn't get my cycle." Um, and because she knew when that time was when I was supposed to get my cycle. She waited. So we waited like 2 weeks, and she did a test, and she said, "You're pregnant." I was like, "What's that?" I never know nothing about what sex is, what touch it, none of that. All I know was this person groomed me to him,
Mm-hmm.
for him, not knowing, basically, um, how a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, starts when they're in school and they're liking boys and all that. But when he found out, he was very aggressive with me, and he raped me again. So it was a combination of having a boyfriend, and then having this person rape me in anger because I was over to this person's house.
Right.
So, you know, I think a little time had went, and I was pregnant. I'm like, only thing I know is I'm having my boyfriend's baby. I'm not thinking
You're
I'm a
having
child. Know that I
stepfather.
can get pregnant from this my stepfather because he raped me again. But time went on, and the parents, because there was rumors in the neighborhood, everybody knew, but nobody did nothing. The whole neighborhood knew. Nobody did nothing. I told about 3 aunts. Nobody said nothing. Even if they said to my mom, nothing came out of it. Until I wound up pregnant. So the whole neighborhood knew. So I guess his mom got a whiff that, hey, her stepdaddy, going with her. That's what I used to say. And they ordered a pregnancy test. But at this time, I already had my baby.
You know what? When people, you know what angers me about these situations is, like you just said, they said her stepdaddy going with her. They
Mm-hmm.
make no, this is not right. The mindset of the people around begin to
Mm-hmm.
be controlled by the secret, and
Mm-hmm.
make the pedophile, the assaulter, the victim,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
victim the one that is like that poke. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Mm-hmm.
victim is now the one that's being outcasted.
Right.
When it
Exactly.
should be the total opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens more often than we could imagine. So
Mm-hmm.
where people, because there's a secret, I would never forget. I was told when I was getting ready to reveal it to my father, I was told, you gonna send your daddy to jail because
Mm-hmm.
my daddy would have killed him.
Whatever. Yeah.
So so I was made to feel bad about, so I get totally where you say, and this happens so much, and it's just like we got to understand that the enemy always wants to keep like control our minds. Like this is almost like it's possession. Like
Mm-hmm.
like even the people that's around, everyone gets in cahoots, become an agent
Mm-hmm.
of Satan, covering up not only the lie, but covering for a person that is
Mm-hmm.
totally out of line. And nobody wants to say anything. Nobody wants to address the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would someone say about a 12-year-old child, oh, her stepdaddy's
You
going
would
with
think nowadays that's unheard of. It will be so many investigations. It took a few years after me having my son going to high school. I'm in high school now.
her? Mm-hmm.
I Nothing happened until one of my friends, she told her parents, and they got the police involved, DCF. They came to pull me out the house, and even through all that, nothing still happened because he didn't show up to court.
Mm.
He didn't show up to court, and it. It was so sad, but it didn't bother me. It bothered me, but it didn't bother me because the fact that I was no longer up underneath my mom's house. I was
Mm-hmm.
free. So it
Yeah.
didn't matter if he was going to jail or not. I had my sanity back. I had my freedom back.
Right.
But it's
Right.
just sad to know that this person got away with it.
Right. And it's terrible, and
Mhm.
that and
But not only after that, he 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 the pedophile, whew, he did other people. He
mm-hmm.
moved on. He had another relationship. He got My mom divorced him finally, and he had another relationship on the outside um that woman had kids. I don't know, but I do have heard of some other things, and he just destroyed our family.
Families, lives over and over and above. And when it come down to, I have two other questions. One, I want to talk about, in that moment, because thank God that God will talk more about the
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about in that moment. And I want people to know that the whole purpose is that God can do more than we can. God can
Mm-hmm.
change, shift, bring back relationships together.
Mm-hmm.
I know that even when he downloaded this show on to me, he was showing me how mothers and daughters will be reconciled,
Mm-hmm.
how relationships and bonds will be restored.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to talk about in that moment, how did you feel towards your mother?
When I told her, or
Just going through it, and when you told
I just never, it was just like I just said something and it just fell on deaf ear. I was like, okay, what am I supposed I was a kid. What was
yes.
I supposed to do? But I never started disliking my mom.
Hmm.
Um, Everything was like it was normal. It's just that I was still being tormented, you
Right.
know,
Right.
from the pedophile. But my even later on in life, um, after forgave my mom, it's as if God just took everything away from me. I had no memories of the past. The enemy used to try sometimes to bring little things up, but I don't know. God just like he cast that down,
It's still the yes.
immediately. Even when I wasn't in the Lord, I think I was in my early 20s. You know, I've always, was in church. I didn't grow up in church. My biological dad had us in church, but when he left my mom for the pedophile, church was no more. So, but I never hated her. I never felt any different way or nothing like that. Like even when I told when I told my daughter, because I did not want to discredit who she was, because she allowed these things to go on. She was still my mom, and I was not going to discredit her character, the love I have for her. And I told my daughter a couple of years ago, when I told my son first, that was like hard, because he grew
Yes,
up.
I wanted to know about that. How did he know in his younger years, or
He
did you?
he I forgot to tag him. He had a sense, because like I said, everyone else knew. He used to always ask me about his dad, and I would lie and say, your daddy in jail. There's always been an excuse from day one when he grew up. But a lot of my family knew. There were some talks. When I did tell him, he did tell me one of his cousins had told him. So he had already knew. And the sad thing is, he looked just like the man. I still see my son. I don't see him. I love my son from day one. But
It's all right. It is okay.
so when I told him, he just grabbed me and hugged me and said he was sorry what happened to me. But I was expecting for my son to down
Mm,
spiral down,
yes.
put his business out there. But my son had a problem with who he was. But he accepted, with him grabbing me and hugging me and saying he was sorry. I knew that was God.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was God, because that was hard. Like, he wasn't a little boy finding that out. That would have crushed him. So I knew I couldn't tell him until God released me to tell him. And then when I told my daughter, my oldest daughter, she said to me, "Oh, I can't believe my grandma was like that." I I forgot how she said it, but she was like, she had no respect for her. I said, "No." I said, that's still your grandma. That doesn't change who she is, but because of me, you're here. So I didn't want to discredit her name, because it was bondage that she was in because of her upbringing, and
Yeah.
because of the dysfunction and the generational curses that have been passed along. That's just something she lived.
Right.
She was in an era where she had no choice. But I knew that once my aunt told me that my mom left my stepfather, my mom left my biological father because my biological father was trying to do the same thing to the older girls. And
Mm-hmm.
when she told me that, I was like, okay, God. My mom felt like she didn't have a choice. I'm going to leave one man doing this. Everybody does it. It's normal. So why would I
Mm-hmm.
leave? Why would I leave another man?
Right. And there are
And,
cycles. First, I
mhm,
want to, they are definitely in the comments, but I want to speak to your strength, because you are strong. And I'm gonna tell you, even as a person that have gone through something similar, not to the capacity,
mhm,
but just I didn't handle it the way that you did. I was bitter.
mhm,
I was
mhm,
bitter. Thank God, like you said, God shielded you from being bitter,
mhm,
because I was bitter. There was well, first of all, I don't know how your mom was, but one thing, you did know some things, but when you don't know, you don't have insight,
right.
or you're not enlightened about their past, because
Mhm,
I wasn't enlightened about, anything still to this day, about anything that happened in that way, you know, in her past. However, just being an adult now, I know that cycles happen. We
mhm,
kind of attract what we, because of
mhm.
who we are,
All
where
right.
our capacity is, our development. And I will never forget that I was dating someone, and they told me, they said, they helped me to forgive my mother,
Mhm,
because they was like, you something like what you just said, like she dealt with it from where she was. But you are definitely strong to be able to even still want to have a desired relationship. Still, I don't, like I said, I don't know how she was at that moment, but just being brave enough to say, that that's still my mother. I'm still gonna love her. I mean, it took me. I still loved, I still love, but I had there was a wall there. There was bitterness there because it didn't just happen one time. It, different. Not, I mean, with one person, but multiple persons. And then, not only that, I think what was the thing for me was, your response. Your response wasn't loving, even in the situation. So, but now like you said, I'm free from that, and I love you. And I do understand that your capacity, and sometimes when we don't be free as people in our own situations, we harm people, we harm our children. Like your mom, she didn't want to face it because she had faced one situation, right? But it didn't have that alternate effect on you. It was more like, I'm just don't know how to deal with this at this point. It happened to me once. Now I don't know how to deal with it at this point. So she just decided to she was probably in a state of shock, you know. And that is why sometimes we just have to even face the things that's in front of us, so that the healing could take place. Because I'm gonna tell you, even with this, there's still more levels. We have healed, we're free. There are still levels to come off, to where even you speaking boldly about it now. When I tell you this is serving hell notice that what you tried, it did not work. It did not work. There is a God. Not only did my son love me and he, took me in his arms and loved me, but the relationship between my mother and I is bonded back again. Not only that, I've been restored by God. You've been restored by God. So when you think about that, to that aspect, this is giving hell a notice, the enemy notice that you did not win. And what he wants to believe, when we don't face it, like you said, sometimes he will bring some things up, and that's what he want. He want us to be trapped in that. But we're free in whatever has happened to us, right? Like, we're free on that thing. And not only are we free, the Bible talks about we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. Your testimony is helping somebody else get free. So it's not just what we went through is never for us ourselves. God have a purpose. God shielded you because he was using you for his glory. Even in the midst of something that didn't hurt. We know in order to reign with him, there is some suffering. Is it God that said, oh, I'm a hurt this young girl? No, it was the enemy. Just as the enemy had a trap for Jesus himself when he was young, when the three wise men came to seeking him out, and Herod heard of the news about his shining star, and he wanted to kill all the boys because he knew there was greatness in him. So the only reason why the enemy even had a trap up for you as a child to try to steal your identity, not only you, but your son, because your son is also going to be used for God's glory. That's why the enemy tried to steal even his identity by way of this situation. But God have a greater purpose. And that's the thing about God. He's so great that even our trials and tribulations, he know how to eradicate the residue, take away the memory. You said that he took the memory of,
I live my life. I never did drugs. Tried it one time when I was young. It burnt my nose, and I was like, nope, that God didn't have that for me. I started drinking, hanging out. That wasn't for me. It's just a lot of stuff he didn't have for me. And
Right.
even if it was for me, I wouldn't have swallowed myself in that. It's just
Right.
I can't even understand it today. I
Right.
can't understand it. The only time I had a memory of in the organization, we had a class, Stranger Danger, and one of the counselors, Miss April, she said, a stranger could be in your home. When she said that, a light bulb went off.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, oh Lord, why did she say that? I was like, why did she say that? And when I went home, I was driving home, and God said, I was crying because I knew if I could mentor young girls, why would I sit and not tell them what happened to me, to train them to prevent it from happening to them? Because a lot of them, they don't reach out to nobody in the home, but they could find somebody that they could trust in school, through church or other places that they're going. So even I saw some of those little girls that took on the structure of me, like real quiet, real sheltered. And he just told me, I just like, God, please don't make me do this. So I knew then I had to come out. I knew then I had to come out.
You can't go through
I
something like
couldn't.
that and not.
And then everything just started pouring out. I just started remembering everything. And then in some of it, at first I was angry, because I remember, some of the people that, like, I was like, nobody was there for me. Not
Right.
one person. My one friend, hadn't she not said anything to her parents, and I always honor her. She's actually, I dedicated my book to her because for her, I would have never made it out of that. But that was the only memory that I had, that, and the devil didn't use that. God used that. You're like, okay, it's time for you to
And it
come
was
up.
okay for you to be angry because
Mm-hmm.
grief comes along with anger, and that is
Mm-hmm.
grief that,
Mm-hmm.
this actually happened to me. There was nobody there. There was nobody, and grief, anger comes along with grief. So, and it was okay for you to be
Mm-hmm.
angry about something
Mm-hmm.
like that. And like you said, and God used it. God is continuing to use it. God
Mm-hmm.
will always use it
Mm-hmm.
for his glory, honestly, and to help others because people don't. I'll never forget. I was going to. We had a program called Tears in school. It was like a group. It was
Mm-hmm.
therapy, but like a group session where some of the kids that may have been troubled or whatever it is. And I remember being in that program, and I remember wanting to deal with it because I was like, oh, this can help. This can help. Like like as a child, just coming into the knowledge of, and I'm like, I want to deal with this. Like now is the opportunity for me to deal with it. Like I knew something was wrong, but I would invite, because they would have you to ask your parents to come and
Yeah.
you get what I mean? Because and it's like
They weren't
it's
coming.
like so you even in that, like even when something has happened and you may have to continue to go, because it's not like I just, there is some rebellion that comes along with it. Even like you said, you was like, I'm out of here. I don't gotta come home no more. I'm old enough to be hanging with my friends. I can go with my friends. So there is a little bit of rebellion that comes along with it. But and like you said, being a child, you really don't know what it means. Like you don't know what it means to deal with it. All you know is that I said something, or I can say something. This would be the perfect platform, or this would be the perfect setup, for me to say something. But tell us how, about your book. I want to hear about like how did you begin? So I know you say you were riding that day in the car and it started coming out, and you knew that then God was like, I'm gonna
Well,
use
I was on my way home, and
you.
I wasn't even thinking about writing a book. I didn't think about writing a book until during the pandemic. I was taking a coaching class with Coach B, and I was able to write a book, and I was like, write a book. I couldn't think of writing a book, and then God said, write about my story. I was like, huh? I just want to write about my life, and don't write about that. Like, I'm like, huh? And then I started sharing with Coach B my story, and she was like, wow, that's a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started writing the book then, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna name it. And he just said dirty. It's dirty, like dirty cry. And I was telling my daughter, she was like, no, you shouldn't. I say, no, it's dirty cry. And the more I thought about it, I was like, that was the perfect name. And then the title he gave me, Silence and the Shame, because I was silent for so long, living in my shame of, what was done to me, and then the after effects of the community looking at me like the I got a title, the girl, what's the girl they judged is the chapter
Mm.
in one of the other books. So that's how I started writing the book. The first book was just like basically like an introduction. It's series of it. That's the first one I'm working on. I'm working on the second, third, and the fourth for me. To be honest with you, to catch up, I lost some years, so I'm playing catch up.
Yeah.
So the prophecy Pastor Cheryl had for last year with Nehemiah, that hit me so strong. And I just been working on everything. I mean, when I say I went back, I'm working on everything. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get it for into the new year, but God told me to do it in decency and in order, and don't rush it because it's
Don't
important.
rush.
It's
Right.
very important. It's very important.
Yes.
So that's how I got into to writing a book. The second book is more. I was like, oh my God. Like I've been sitting, you know, fasting, and I've been writing. I have the house quiet, and it's amazing how the thoughts just come to me. So I had 4 friends. I think a couple of them might be on here. A couple of them, because sometimes you get of age, you don't remember everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked them, Ella is up there. I said, can you tell me, just send me something about, as a reminder how you met me and who you were to me. And she was like, I can't remember. I said, you used to call me Mouse because I was so quiet. And she was like, there was just, Grace not on it either, but they was just amazed that I was just amazed that they really played a pivotal point in my life when I met them, because I was secluded. I
Mm-hmm.
was shy. I was sheltered. I didn't want to be bothered with anybody. And it's amazing how I was just sitting down. Right. I said, "Oh, this is good."
Yes, yes. And so I wanted, when you first was writing the first one, did you experience some healing, some deep that you
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even
that listen. The first series was very hard. There was the same trail I put on today. When Coach B sent me that, I had a panic attack. I never had a panic attack because I'm like, this is real. When it said the had a baby by her stepfather, I was like, I was like, oh my God, everybody gonna know this. So it's like, okay, there's no turning back.
there's no turning back.
There's no turning back.
How did I want to ask you this question? I'm asking you because I have my book written.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't published it,
Mm-hmm.
but my book is written. There are some
Mm-hmm.
little tweaks that I'm gonna do, but
Mm-hmm.
I have been, people like, I don't think you should, but God is the one who said for me to do
I
it.
didn't
So
listen to nobody.
yeah,
I
so I
didn't
want
listen
to
to
ask you,
nobody.
how did family or even mom felt about you?
I didn't care I didn't care. I still don't care.
Yeah.
Nobody was with me when I was going through it. I don't care.
Listen, this is
Like
my
it or not, get off my page. Don't buy the book. I don't care.
If you want to tell your story, so if you want to tell your side of the story, tell it. But God said, and let me tell you something.
I feel like my whole family turned against me.
Yeah, that's but
I have a big wait. I have a big family. When I did my book release, I had 2 cousins to come, none of my aunts. My 2 older sisters didn't come. I had 1 niece, and it hurted me, but it didn't hurt me because God had already showed me they're not going to support me.
yes.
I don't know if they mad because I told the truth.
Right. And
I don't know what it is.
They're not willing to face their truth neither because you said it happened to even one of your sisters. So
my sister next to me, she's deceased. She died about 4 years ago, and we were running mates. We were Bonnie and Clyde.
wow.
I had her to protect me, and I protected her, she protected me. We used to have to take turns at night. She was on the bottom bunk, I was on the top bunk. We would have to sleep in like sweats and stuff in clothes because he would come creep in our room at night. And when one would be sleeping, the other one would stay up, would stay watch. And when we notice him come in the room, she'll kick the top of the bunk. We would switch, beds. Like, well, you gotta get up top so I could kick you to know that, hey, wake up.
Y'all
And then
had a system.
listen, we were Bonnie and Clyde. And how we told my mom was, this man used to come in our room and get our underwears out the dirty clothes. Because he was doing some dirty stuff.
That's why Dirty Cry was so good. When I tell you,
girl, listen, you just opened my eyes. When you said that, I never even thought that.
Yes, because let me tell you, me and my sister just had a conversation the other day about men that go and get women's house, break in women's house and get their underwear and stuff like that. And I was like, that's the most dirty, that's the most dirtiest feeling, because I remember having a peeping Tom, and the blinds, like there was a crack in the blinds. When me and my friend girl, we stayed together, because the aftermath of what my situation, I told you, went a total opposite way than yours. So I was like, ooh, I was out there. I was outside. But the crack, and I saw the man's eyeball in the window. Oh my goodness. That was worse than being touched.
Yeah.
So imagine knowing somebody
that put like that fear in you, that
right.
You can't sleep because he's gonna come back creeping like.
Yes, and imagine somebody getting your underwear. That is so dirty. Like that's the only way to the name.
Back then they had those big barrels that they used to ship stuff in, and we would throw out. It was a laundry bin for us, and we would just throw our clothes in there. But then we started noticing our underwear was gone, and we saw him one night. We was like, okay, so we put him all the way down in the bottom. He still went all the way down in the bottom. So when we told our mom, me and my sister started investigating. He had this truck, and he was asleep. That's the only way we could have got him. He was asleep, and my sister, one of us watched while the other one went out there, and she came back and she said she found him in the back of the truck, and we said we hid him somewhere, and we actually went to our mom, and we showed, because we was telling our mom we got no underwears. For her to like, okay, well, what's going on with y'all underwears? We're like, we don't know. They're disappearing, hitting all kind of stuff. But when we finally said to her, show her the bag. Lord Jesus, my mom said we should hide them. I looked at my sister looked at me, and we was like, there's just no hope.
Yes, that's, you know what, I remember.
There's just no hope.
Listen, the second time that the whole situation happened to me, the second time that, I mean, like I said, I wasn't completely all the way there, but it was a violation in touch.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said it, now this was the second man.
Mm-hmm.
So when I said it,
Wow.
he's like, "You big enough to tell him to stop."
Oh,
So like, so I understand what you said
to
when
see
you
stuff
say,
like that nowadays just make me want to fight. I
yes,
just
when you
want to
say you used to
fight.
hide it at the bottom. Oh, I left because
Yeah.
I was at this time. Now this was when I finally, like how you said, at this point you was in middle school. I was in high school at this time. This was my ninth grade year. Now at this point now I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I had already stayed with other people before. So but now I knew that I don't have to deal with this. Like,
Right.
I can go stay with my father. I can go, like,
Mm-hmm.
I knew then, like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not a baby
Mm-hmm.
no more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you right. You right. Now I'm prove you right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm leaving. So, that's the effects of it now. It's like, I'm leaving. So I understand clearly when you
Mm-hmm.
are like, what do you mean? What do you mean that, like, yes, hide them. That's what
Hide
we did. We hid them.
our underwears, dirty underwears. Like
Yeah.
that was the house of horror. It
Yes.
really was. Um,
Yes.
there were times when I tried, and other times I used to try to tell her. I was even younger then. That's when he first started. It first started. He used to bait, like, I got a new stepdad. He was real nice. He treating everybody nice, but then he started treating me a little nicer because I'm the baby girl. I don't know, maybe I thought I was just cute or whatever. But he would bring me home stuff. He would bring others, but he gave me more than he actually gave his own son sometime. And he even treated his own son like it wasn't his son. I just didn't understand the stuff. But we had a farm, and it was back in the woods, and he would oftentimes want me to ride with him. And there was times when I was like, okay, I went because my mom told me to go. But then we wound up in the back of an alley somewhere, and that's when he started, touching on me and stuff. And then he threatened with me. He hit me. And so it's like I wasn't used to none of that. I was scared that he was going. I never got hit before. My mom never beat me. Nobody never touched me to say. So it just got so bad to I was starting to tell my mom I don't want to go. She said, "Oh, go. He just going to get such and such. You wait late at night to want to go get something. You want to take me and two other boys in the house. Like, excuse me, how dumb could you be? Like, come on,
Mhm.
mama." But
Mhm.
it's just something I had to accept. I couldn't rebuttal to my mom. I couldn't be disrespectful. I had to do as I was told by an adult.
Right.
And I just begged her that I didn't want to go. So it was just so much. It's just so much.
Well, again, I'll say to you, you are very, very strong. And we look forward to the series. Tell the people
Mhm.
how they can get your book that's already out.
Dirty Cry, Silence of Shame 1 is already on Amazon. Dirty Cry, I didn't want to put it out there, but it's coming out very shortly. I'm going to do pre-orders for Dirty
Oh,
Cry too. So I'm working on that. Yeah.
yes, yes. So y'all
And there's
go to
other things coming behind that, but I'm not giving the enemy no leeway. So I'm going to.
if you can inbox me the link really quick so I can put it in the comments.
Oh, okay.
If you can inbox me the link from
It's just on
Amazon.
Amazon. 30 Cry Silence the Shame with my name.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the link because this may be somebody in the comments that may
Oh, mm,
want to purchase your book,
okay.
and so they could get the full story.
Full story. Yeah.
To get the full
The
story.
full story is the second one. That's the full story.
Yeah, well, get more of
So
a.
you'll get a bundle if they want. I will ask them to wait. I can give them a bundle deal
Oh,
if they
okay, for
want.
both books.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all stay tuned for the next book to come out.
Mm-hmm.
The book number 2, and it's a series. So the
Mm-hmm.
second book of the series, and there's gonna be a bundle, and it's coming out really soon. So you want to stay tuned, stay connected, follow the woman of God.
Mm-hmm.
She's on Facebook as Juanita Lupoe on there as well, right? That's your name on Facebook.
I have two. One is Juanita
Okay.
Williams Lupoe, and then one is Juanita Williams. But they can
Okay.
follow my nonprofit, which is A Woman's Work Dwelling Place Inc.
A Woman's Worth Dwelling Place Inc., y'all. Stay connected to the woman of God. You want to be able to, you know, just stay connected, get the book. If you have experience in anything of this nature, if you yourself have experience, if you know someone that have experience, even after this live goes off, you can still share this live to someone that may be experiencing, that may be in silence, that may be going through something on their own, to let them know that you heal when you deal with it. You cannot heal if you don't face. There is definitely healing in facing the circumstances. And a lot of times we feel like, these people, we both are aware that there may be somebody that did not listen to you, that haven't listened to you in your close knit circle. But there is a description that on this page as well, where you can, there's a recovery session. I know I myself, and she's also a coach, but I myself offer recovery sessions to women. So you can, yes, you heal when you deal with it, but you can also reach out, inbox the woman of God. I know she's doing services. I know she's rebranding, being that she's bringing out a new book. So just follow. Make sure you follow. Is there anything that you would tell a woman, a young woman, old, no matter the age, that have been through something and traumatic, or may have, maybe even having a parent, not being a parent, even having children that may secretly know that something ain't right? I don't know. You speak to whom you feel that is necessary for you to speak to. I want you to share from your words of what you would say to somebody that's either going through it from any aspect, whatever the Lord leads you to say, to someone that may be watching or may be experiencing something similar.
One thing that I would say, even if it could have been my mother younger self, to we protect our kids nowadays, but sometimes we could be so into ourselves and not into our kids that we don't see what's in front of us. Listen to your children. If your child is telling you, oh, well, I don't like this, I don't like that, it's a reason why. It's a different, they say that, oh, I don't like this type of food, da, da, da. But if they're telling you, I don't like going over such and such house, listen to them. You got to protect your girls and boys to the fullest, because these things are happening and they look to you as a parent. It's your responsibility. It's your duty to protect them at any cost. That's what I would tell, I would say not even necessary so a single mom, but single moms got it worse because they bring in people that are not to say that dads don't do it either, but when you bring in someone outside of the home, it's a risk. Even letting your kids go to a family member house, I don't care. That cousin may have a friend that may it's so many scenarios. We'll be here all night talking about the different scenarios.
Right. So that's some good advice. And you just made me think of two things that was told to me that I heard some by way of whatever. One is, don't allow your children to go to places where people are not filled with the Holy Ghost, y'all. I'm telling you, filled with
They're
the
gonna
Holy
come
Ghost.
back home
They
with
don't
them
need to
demons.
spend no nights with people who are not filled with the Holy Ghost. Not just for this, but witchery that is going on, y'all. We ain't even gonna talk about that. But I'm just saying, filled with the Holy Ghost. Make sure that your children are, if you are a God-filled person, you are saved. You want your children to be around people who are saved. And then the second thing is, I heard someone say, you have to have a vision for your children. You have to have a vision for even your children. So when you have a vision, the Bible talks about that without a vision, people perish. Just like without wisdom, people perish. So if you don't have a vision, things happen, because when you have a vision for your children and your own life, there's a goal. So you know what type of child you want to raise. You know how you are going to develop this child and get this child. You start getting clarity. You start getting not only clarity but strategy in order to how to raise. You start being aware of certain situations, because it's certain things that you want to allow them to do. It's certain situations you want to allow them to get in when you have a vision for their life, because of where the ultimate goal is. So even for your children, just as much as we have visions for our own selves, we need to have vision for our children. So those are two things that I would like to say. Please show us your book, let them know how it looks. So when they see
It's
it,
hard
that's
to see it, but
you
there's
can see it
a
clearly.
okay, but there's a gentleman. There's a glare. There's a
Oh,
gentleman in the back with a door. You'll see it once you get. Well, it's not on this one, but when you some of these was printed without the man on there. But when you go on Amazon, you'll see a shadow of a man in this one area right here. But this is volume 1. There's
volume 1, Dirty Cry, Silencing and
Silence
Shame.
and Shame. Yeah.
Listen,
I
I
wanted
pray.
to go ahead.
No, I just say I pray that this is blessing someone. I know it is. Go ahead.
I wanted to leave you guys with one scripture and a quote that healing requires truth. And in John 8:32, Jesus said, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Truth is essential for healing because it allows us to see the things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Acknowledging the truth of our pain doesn't mean we're weak. It means we're brave enough to seek freedom. Healing requires honesty with ourselves, with God, and sometimes with the people who we hurt, with the people who hurt us. So that's one of the main things. Is it's all about truth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live in a lie. It happened to
You
you.
ain't living a lie.
You have to deal
I
with it.
love when you said that scripture and that quote, because I just posted the other day that in order for you to advance in life, because I'm Kingdom Advancing, y'all, so I speak about advancement. In order for you to advance in life, you have to see things the way that they are, not how you want them to be, not how you esteem them to be, not how you have to see from your where you are right now in order to get to where you're trying to go. Again, vision. Vision is so important. Vision, and that's what the
It,
enemy wants to do,
the
Rob.
main thing that I didn't say was forgiveness. That's how I got. There was my cousin pastor had met me outside one day, and she told me that I have to forgive, and I thought she was crazy. Me forgive? I'll never forget that man. But she prayed with me, and God was just dealing with me. For the next thing you know, and I was just talking to God and crying out to God, and it took a while. It didn't happen overnight. I forgave them. Forgave my mom. I forgave the abuser, but it took a while for me to forget. But then God covered that. It didn't take long. It didn't take me years. But you have to forgive them. I mean, people do stuff to you. God forgive us for stuff we do. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to forgive them no matter what it is. I don't see if they're looking at it, well, oh, I'll never. No, that's not your vocabulary. That's not for you to say. That's for God to heal your heart. If
Right.
you
And
allow him
you have
to
to forgive in
work on
order
your
for God
heart.
to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In order for God to do anything for us, we got to
Mm-hmm.
be forgiven. And it took me, one of the chapters in my book is forgiving her,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you definitely have to. And now,
I want to see your book in the next 2 months, Heidi. You need
come
to stop
on,
playing. You
get
sleep.
on.
You please.
When
I'm
you
gonna
right.
get on you.
Yes, please do hold me accountable. But you're right, and I
I've
love
been
that
seeing you
you
in church all this time. Never knew you was a hairstylist. Never knew you. You know, you
said,
writing a book, girl.
yeah.
Analyze that book. It ain't take long.
No, it's
Just
not. And I love too that you said forgiveness, because you have to forgive. Y'all, we can't continue to let the enemy win by us not forgiving. So we have to always forgive. But we thank you all for joining. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
You just have so much peace after that. You have
Peace.
so much peace. You walk in freedom. You walk in, it's just a total difference. Like, I let all that go. You know, like you done been with a man for so long and they done hurt you and they done did that, and you just done processed it. You processed the relationship. Now you're over, you're happy. That's a peace.
Peace.
That's
Peace
all.
that I give unto you. Not what the world can give, but it's something else. The only way to walk in true healing and true peace is to forgive. That is so true.
That's it. And a lot of us don't want to forgive. First of all, we don't want to think about it, and then we don't want to forgive. Well, you can't.
That's a part of facing it. It's forgiving.
Exactly. Can't hear what you don't confront.
Come on.
I love shirt. I'm gonna do a shirt. You can't hear what you can't hear what you don't confront. I say that all the time.
Exactly. Well, I thank you so much. And I love you. And we thank you all for coming and tuning in. Again, I say unto all of you, share the video. Share it, share it. This has been a powerful story. And even as she come out with this new book, we're going to have her on for the Advance Her Speak segments, y'all, because so we could get this book out. I will definitely purchase a second book, my friend. Stay stronger. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Miss Tiffany Myers. Thank you so much. That's my support. That's my support.
Okay, see, and I'm telling you, yes, there's always, I just went to a funeral recently, and the man of God said, it was a funeral with someone that committed suicide, and it was his son. But he said, you always have somebody in your corner. It may not be who you want it to be or who you expect it to be, but there is somebody that you can reach out to. There is somebody. And even with telling you, SisterMyS.I.S.T.A, y'all. SisterMyS.I.S.T.A, not just a TV channel. SisterMyS.I.S.T.A is a group, is a community, sisters imparting strength towards advancement. It's something that I started years ago. I fell off for a while, but I'm back at it. And it's to teach you to heal. Your enemy needs intimacy. You must, I say this all the time, your enemy needs intimacy. You must heal. You must get a strong, grounded prayer life, and you have to walk with God. Some of these battles, y'all, that we have faced, we can't do it alone. We have to do it with him. And as you have heard on tonight, it was because of God. He shielded, he did it.
He did.
But y'all, we love y'all, and we'll say good night. Good night.
I just wanted to say to Marie is Jen Lee Beautifications. Thank you for writing a comment. That's my circle of friends.
Yes, I'm telling you, you have the support, and I love it. I love it because guess what, y'all? Even after the healing, you need support. You need support. You have to have that support. You have to have that support. Well, I love y'all. Good.
Are you building for the kingdom and would like to partner with us for a greater reach? Go ahead and email us at ad@kingdomceonetwork.com.